All right, we have a video for you, story for you that I want to read about the climate and how crazy the climate is and how much worse it's going to get. The Associated Press put this out, and it says, study says 2023's crazy Atlantic Ocean heat, low Antarctic sea ice give glimpse of much hotter world. Off the charts crazy heat in the North Atlantic Ocean and record smashing Antarctic sea ice lows last year are far more severe than what Earth is supposed to get, what Earth was supposed to get with current warming levels. They are more like what happens at twice this amount of warming, a new study said. The study's main author worries that it's a harbinger of what's coming in the next decades, and it's got him not just concerned but wondering why those two climate indicators were so beyond what was expected. A study in the Bulletin of the American Meteorological Society charted the North Atlantic sea temperature and the Antarctic sea ice halfway across the globe against long-accepted computer simulations. Sea ice levels that low and North Atlantic temperatures that much above normal are supposed to occur regularly in a world that has warmed 3 degrees Celsius, that's 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit, since pre-industrial times. But that's not where Earth is at right now. Last year, a record hot year by far, the world was 1.48 degrees Celsius, 2.66 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit warmer than pre-industrial times, according to the European Climate Agency Copernicus. And over the long term of decades, which is what scientists use, the world is at 1.2 degrees Celsius, 2.2 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than normal. The climate of 2023, with all the disasters, with all the wildfires in Canada and all the flooding events in Europe and everything, you can interpret this as what we will have every year, year after year after year in the 3-degree world, said study author Till Kulbrot, a climate scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Sciences and the University of Reading in England. You don't want to go there. That's still a few decades away. It leads to the big questions of why or how did this happen last year. At best, it's a freak event on top of a strong El Nino that changes weather patterns worldwide. And when that ends, things return to near what now passes for normal. It's not like that, and the North Atlantic stays in this crazy area, then the northern hemisphere is going to be in deep trouble, said Kulbrot. And then it gets absolutely essential to find out why this is happening and how bad it's going to get. Kulbrot looked at 2023 temperature levels in the North Atlantic. Last week, the anomaly, or difference above the 1991 to 2020 average, was so far out of whack that it was the type of event that would randomly happen only once in 284,000 years, said University of Miami tropical scientist Brian McNulty, who wasn't part of the study. Next week or so, the North Atlantic will have gone a full year of nonstop, record-breaking sea surface temperatures, McNulty added. It's not just record-breaking, it's blowing past records. In the last few weeks, Antarctic sea ice has returned to hovering at or just below record low levels, but not as off the charts as before. Kulbrot and several other, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, and several other scientists said it's not climate computer simulations that are off because they are working elsewhere and have proven right over time. They could be underestimating the impacts of the warming, he said. So that leaves Kulbrot and others wondering if it's a sign of the acceleration of warming or some kind of other factor connects the North Atlantic and Antarctic effects. There is no doubt that the impacts of warming are accelerating and much more visible than what they were in the past, said University of Arizona climate scientist Kathy Jacobs, who wasn't part of the study. Saying these two conditions provide a glimpse of a 3-degree world is not the same as saying conditions across the globe are now a preview of that hotter world, just a few places, Jacobs said in an email. French climate scientist Valérie Massany-Delmade, who wasn't part of the study, said the Antarctic sea ice and hotter North Atlantic show how, with ongoing warming, we are entering into uncharted territory and that we need to anticipate and better prepare for these low likelihood but high impact outcomes. And, hurricanes are all part of that and stuff. And we're just going to show you the sea surface temperature anomalies across the Atlantic because that's what this article is talking about. And we're going to go here and look at our ocean and sea surface temperature anomalies. And you'll notice where there's a lot of above normal water. Look at this area in the Atlantic. This is something to be very concerned about because what happens in this area of the Atlantic? This is where hurricanes form, the Cape Verde storms. With water temperatures this warm, we could see a very early start to the hurricane season with Cape Verde storms already. Usually we don't see those until September, October. We could start seeing them, who knows, we may see them in a couple of months, perhaps as soon as May. So this is very concerning. And if you look all across the water, you still see there's your El Nino. That's still going. That hasn't died down too much. It's died down a little bit, but by and large, look at how much more red there is than blue on this map. Just look at how much more red there. Look at the whole Atlantic. So this kind of shows you of what's happening here across the planet. We have a lot of above normal. There's your El Nino again. But we have a lot of above normal water temperatures in the Atlantic. And this year's hurricane season could be very, very disastrous. Could this possibly be the year we not only get hit by one hurricane here in our area, but maybe even two or maybe even three? It's all possible. These are very alarming. So showing you how above normal these water temperatures are. They are 3 degrees Celsius above normal. Pull this out just a little bit here. 3 degrees Celsius above normal. And that is quite an anomaly. So that is 5.6 degrees above normal, these water temperatures. That's very warm, all right? Let's see what the actual sea surface temperature is. Oh, look at that. 83 degrees already. That's warmer than 80 degrees. Guess what? That can produce hurricanes. So this is what we've got to be concerned about this year. And look at some of these water temperatures off of Africa, approaching 90 degrees. That is insane. Those purples. That's very disturbing to see. And there actually was a very rare South American hurricane. That's right. We're going to go back. We're going to go and look at the MODIS satellite. We'll show you this. This happened about a week ago, I think. I'll have to go back a little bit and show this to you. I didn't talk about it, but go over here. We've got to find the right shot over here. Go back and we'll get the right thing here. We got to go back quite a few days here to find it, but we will find it. There was actually, I think this was it right here. I think this might have been it. There was a hurricane or a tropical system off the South American coast. A very rare thing that happened. Trying to show when it happened. But there was a tropical system. It's happened a couple of days ago. There was a tropical system in this area here. Southern Atlantic tropical system. Let's just look for this here. Tropical cyclone. Let's see, because there was, rare tropical storm forms in South Atlantic. So this was 1 week ago. It was Tropical Storm Akara. So this is it right here. This is what it looked like here. This was taken. I don't know what day it was taken, but is that the image from it? Yeah, that's Akara right there. Akara, a rare tropical storm in the Atlantic. So this was 8 days ago. This is it right here. But this is what happened. It formed off the coast of Brazil. Really impressive stuff here to see. And this is the kind of stuff that we're going to see in this warming world. So I'll link this article and I'll link this article in the description below. It's just you read it. This is the kind of thing that we're heading toward. This is the kind of world that we are living in. And there still doesn't seem to be any urgency, particularly here in the good old United States of America, on how serious this is and why we really need to change our transportation culture and be a lot more like Europe, because it would make a big difference if we got to work right now and started changing our transportation structures to be more like Europe. We need to do it, and we need to do it ASAP. But no one on either side of the aisle, whether Democrat or Republican, they don't realize the urgency of this situation. This is very serious, and this summer that we have coming this year is going to be, I think it's going to be a very bad summer. Not only is it going to be hot, I think there's going to be a lot of wildfire smoke, but also tropical storms and hurricanes, and we may see a lot of impacts along the East Coast, and it could be quite devastating, and it will make Sandy look like nothing. So keep that in mind, and have a good night.